A bias is a tendency, it's an inclination that all of us have. We all have it, and it results in judgment without question, but we need it. It's an automatic response. It's the way that we have to quickly navigate and respond and interact with the world. So biases are unconscious, but they can be positive or they can be negative. We have biases that are very positive about people, but they still are inaccurate. Like in my work, we have biases, particularly when we're talking about different people of color, right? You have Asians, and why is it that we assume that all Asians are smart in math and science? So we want to put them in those kinds of positions because as HR, that's what I've been working with a lot of leaders. Oh, you know what? I think Steve would be good over here in IT. I think Steve would be good over here in our accounting department. So I talked to Steve about his interests, and he was like, I don't like math. I'm not good at IT. I want to work over here in HR, right? So we have these biases where we place people based on what we've been socialized and how we've been programmed and what we've been taught, and oftentimes our very limited exposure to people who are different from us. Many times this comes from what we've been taught, our learned rules, right? We have stereotypes and we have prejudices, and they're developed early in life. And these learned rules, we learn everything from don't touch the stove, it's hot. We've learned you've got to make sure that you eat all of your food because you know all of the poor children are in Africa. How many of you live in an area where you got some homeless and you got some children that could use some food, right? Where did that come from? We've been taught all of these things. Don't talk to strangers. Problem is, who were the strangers? They were not like us. We've been taught who to bring home from school, who to date, who to marry, who should we be friends with, what neighborhood should we live in, based on what? So learn rules. Learn rules, they're reinforced through our communities, they're reinforced through our life experiences, and certainly through the media. They're reinforced in our relationships, as well as in our places of worship, and certainly in our communities. So from a very young age, we have been taught and programmed all throughout our lives on who to like, who not to like, who's dangerous, who's not dangerous, who's safe to be around, who's not safe to be around, who's smart, who's not, who is educated and who's not. As a matter of fact, what college or university did they go to? So all of these help inform the way that we see the world. The problem is that we see the world the way that we are versus the way that the world really is. Because if we've not been exposed to a lot of difference, if we've not been exposed to various cultures and to people who don't look like us, think like us, didn't come up in the same areas, didn't grow up in the same environments where we did, we tend to assume and see the world the way that we are and not as theirs.